Well, I think it went pretty well. I think she was a little nervous at first, being the first time she's ever flown before, but I think she would agree that Austin put her probably pretty good at ease by giving the pre-flight brief that he gave her, letting her know somewhat of the cockpit orientation, as well as telling her what we were going to do and the different techniques of how to avoid high Gs. And then, of course, once she got strapped in nice and slowly by Austin and Deo, she was probably still maybe a little uncomfortable at that point getting in the actual seat. But I think we were able to talk throughout the flight and back and forth. She could talk to me, I could talk to her. So I think that probably helped put her at ease and went through the different maneuvers. And she should be pretty proud of herself for having never flown before. Pulled 7.4 Gs, did all the rolling maneuvers, and came back in for the break, the carrier break. That's a pretty good day right there.
I really enjoyed the split S and cloud surfing. And like I said, the scenery was amazing. Well, I mean, even just, flying, I mean, all of it. I have no words for it. All of it was great. So.
First, of course, we started up and taxied down to the end of the runway, and we did what we call the low transition to the high-performance climb. At that point, Danica pulled 5.5 Gs as we positioned the aircraft in a 45 degrees nose-up attitude and got off Earth pretty quickly. We climbed up to about 12,000 feet and then proceeded to descend down and conduct the first of a couple maneuvers. The general approach is a walk-to-run. So the first maneuver we did was a wing over. Essentially, it gave her what a G feels like, more than 1 G. About 2.5 Gs we pulled on that as we pitched the aircraft up at about 45 degrees nose high, and then let the nose and the wing of the aircraft slice off to the left. At that point, you could feel a little bit less than 1 G, a floaty sensation. And then on the backside, she got to feel about another 2.5 Gs as we rounded out and went 180 degrees the other way. The next maneuver is called the diamond roll simulation, which is essentially what the Diamond does. Their first maneuver of the show is called the diamond roll. So we pretended we were one of 4 aircraft and rolled our aircraft 360 degrees, and no real G's on that one, but we did it as a single. But it gets very dynamic when you have other folks 18 inches from wingtip to canopy. So got to experience that. And then we slowed it down a little bit, did a high alpha pass, meaning we were at about 125 miles per hour with the aircraft positioned 25 degrees nose up relative to the wind while maintaining level flight. And then we advanced the throttles to full afterburner and broke the speed of sound. So that's a pretty cool thing to say. Then we turned the jet around, pulled about 7 Gs at that point to kind of give an initial feel of what the G is going to feel like at high Gs. Then we did a loop. Then we did an Immelman. Then we did your favorite maneuver, the split S. Then we did an aileron roll. Then we rolled upside down and went inverted for about 10 seconds or so. She liked that pretty good, too. And then after the completion of that, we stayed out in the area, went south for a little bit, advanced the throttles, got a little bit faster, and did the minimum radius turn, which is where she performed 7.4 Gs. We completed that and got ourselves done with our maneuvers, and then we came and brought it back home.
Holy cow, you put her through the ringer.
Yeah, she did great. She got the whole package. And then we pulled 7.2 Gs here on the break, because we slowed it down and did the carrier break, which is a simulation of what we do at the aircraft carrier to come in and land in that racetrack pattern all the way to touchdown. And she got to see the ball that we use for referencing it for landing. Yep.
It took me a while to look at.
I feel like breaking sounded. Did you tell?
Wasn't that when like the wind was? Well, I mean, when you start out slow and then went fast. I mean,
you can't hear it in the air.
No.
Can you feel it in the air?
Not really, not to sound nonchalant about it, but really, the heads-up display, or the display that she was able to see on our TV screen on her left-hand side, it's a number, because the aircraft is so smooth, you just pierce through all the drag, and it's really not a very dynamic thing. It's just the speed, which over the water, you really don't have any reference to trees or anything like that, so it's kind of a little bit misleading, if you will, just as you don't have anything reference to, but nonetheless, the jets just pierce completely through the sound barrier, and it's just nice and smooth. Now when you pull back through and you go through that transonic regime where part of the aircraft is subsonic while the other parts are supersonic, it's just a little bit of what we call a pitch up, or a Mach. It's just a little pitch up that occurs out of the aircraft, but slicing through the sky is really just a number, and the speed, of course.
Danica, of all the things that everybody told you, what was the thing that you remembered and the thing that helped you the most?
Probably pick in the briefing. Just to squeeze my buttocks and my legs, my calves, and pick. I know it looks funny, but it does help. Even though I guess when we did pull 7.4, I did kind of. But I mean, so much pressure is put on your body that
What does it feel like? Does it feel like you're sinking down?
It feels like somebody like, you know, is pushing you like in your seat, you know. It's, you know, heavy, but
That sensation is a G. A G is gravity. And so when she feels more than 1 G, upwards of 7 as she did, it's in the x-axis, especially with the way our aircraft is seated. It's pretty much a direct up and down posture that she had. There are more advanced aircraft, F-16 specifically. It's got a 30-degree slant that provides more surface area, if you will, for your body, less than that full vertical of the x-axis where the blood can cool. So that's why you're doing the anti-G straining maneuver, which is twofold. One, the flexing the legs, as she mentioned, as well as that breathing technique. In fact, her breathing technique was really good because a lot of people will go faster or slower. Basically, the body has a 4 to 5 second oxygen reserve that if you don't breathe inside of that 4 seconds, we target 2 to 3, then your body doesn't really know what's going on and it makes you pass out. So she didn't have any problems with that breathing technique. She did really well with that, actually.
Anything else you want to say? Get in
thank
there.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Go Navy.
Got it.